to
Okay,
tell.
we're live. We're live. Cheers.
I'm
Cheers.
Maddy.
We're live. I'm
Maddy.
Ryan. Welcome to Insomniacs in the Morning. This is
Well-
a true finally. I'm saying finally as if we don't sleep normally. But like,
No, what are you
this-
saying? Finally, Insomniacs in the Morning features Maddy and Ryan not having slept. Finally.
I know, right? Well, okay. This particular night is super wacky because neither of us like stayed asleep or went to bed on time. And I'm going to share with everyone that last night it was like 12:45 in the middle of the night, and Maddy and I were like
talking on the internet.
Okay, we had been talking about GENO because we have another shoot coming up on Sunday, but then it just like became like a throwback to other bad stories that we had written, and then I was like pulling out like old VHS tapes that I had written across, and I was like, "Isn't this funny?"
It was great though because I had a really stressful day/week. I mean, when is that not true?
I mean, that's very true because like I'm in the same boat.
Shooting the shit about GENO, and it made me feel so much better. And I was like, we have to do the show tomorrow because even though we don't have any news, we can't not do the show. So we have like 2 news items. We have nothing, and I don't want to talk about either of them.
That's okay because for some reason we have 2 throwbacks box and we can talk about all the shit that we're both doing, and also we have a ton of reader mail today.
Yay! Let's
like
just do an all reader mail episode then.
Well, no, that's not going to be enough. I'm sorry, like it's 5 emails, but that's a ton for us.
That's awesome, though. That's awesome. Yay. Me guilting everyone about sending in reader mail last week was effective, and that means you're going to get guilted every week.
Well, I also totally just like, I tweeted out like maybe 10 minutes ago. I was like, if you guys want to send a mail today is the day. We have like no topics, so
yeah,
which is not true. We have some,
but I feel like we say that every week. We really like reader mail. Anyway,
we do.
Do we want to talk about
anything?
I don't know.
All right, hold on.
I don't want to talk about. I don't want to like say what we're doing because
I'm not going to say what we're doing either because it's super ridiculous and I'm so excited about it. But basically, we are shooting one of the very last scenes this weekend for episode 1, and
we can't.
It's not that if we
be outside. I'll just say that.
So yeah, but we can't even say that we're wrapping on because we're not wrapping because we still have to shoot the newscaster.
We have to shoot the newscaster. I have to.
But I guess of all the action sequences, we will be done.
Yeah, apparently we just told people there's a newscaster. A newscaster says one sentence, so like I have to.
I don't think anybody really cares about the newscaster.
Sad that it's been spoiled.
They're like, it's lure.
Well, yeah, they're gonna be really sad. Anyway,
I'm excited about it because I'm excited about the whole weekend, and I'm going to share this with you because you're not up to date with this.
We haven't been shooting GENO for like 2 months, and then now we're finally doing it again, and everyone probably wondered what was happening.
I like how you said 2 months, but it was like literally 2 weeks ago. But whatever.
Are you sure? I feel
it was like 2 or 3 weeks ago. It was not even a month yet because we were.
I think you're wrong.
I don't think I am.
Well,
I think I look
no
pretty great.
way to find out when we shot the other scene. There's absolutely no way to look it up.
Nope.
You know what? I'm gonna check right now.
All right, hold on. Can we talk about the fact that you were like, Ryan, you should probably start editing GENO? I'm like,
yes!
We need the opening scene, and you're like, Ryan, we have everything else. You can edit in later. And I was like, listen, it has to go completely in order, or else it's not going to work. And you're like, Maddy was just like, Ryan, stop.
First of all, it's April 20th, and we shot the other scene with Ava on March 7th, which is almost 2 months ago. It's like a month and a half ago.
Oh my God, really?
Pointing that out. Yeah, it's been a really long time. And so in the intervening month and a half, I've been like, so Ryan isn't editing GENO at all. So I've just been like, I wonder if Ryan's really busy. And I felt really bad because I was like, he could probably start editing this stuff. But I know literally every single detail of your life every day because that's the friendship that we have. So I knew that you weren't editing it. And I was like, eventually I was like, Ryan, why aren't you? And also, do you want me to edit it or at least like go through the footage and like find the best takes and send those back to you so that it'll save you some time later? Because a lot of it is just going to be bullshit. And you were like, oh no, I can't edit it until we have the newscaster because that's the first scene. And I was like, what? And it's not because you don't know how to edit video. It's just because you're OCD and you were like, well, we have to have the first scene done before.
Yeah, I know, and it was totally my OCD.
It was completely psychological, right? You were like, well, we don't have the newscaster. What are you talking about? And I was like, right.
The second that I was like, oh, well, I was like, this is all me. It's totally me. So
it was
now
really
I can.
cute, though. And also, if you want to do it that way, I don't mind. We can film everything, and then you can just edit it.
I mean, it doesn't really matter. I'm just being weirdo
about it.
It's not like
you haven't been
and
busy.
It's like, it's not, it's like, I know that this small section at the beginning is going to be less than a minute. So it's like, I just need to space out that. Yeah, like, I don't know what my problem is.
It's not even that. I think you just were like, I'll wait until we're done shooting everything. But the problem is that, like, it's going to take us a really long time to shoot everything because we're busy as hell.
I don't know why I'm doing that. It's not like this is my first time video editing like a web series. So I don't know why I'm acting like I have to do it in order, because I don't.
I think because, well, also the fact that we're actually doing GENO is like a really big deal because we've been writing about these characters since we were like 13. In various formats, which is something we were joking around about last night.
Yeah, well, last night we were like, well, what if we just
can we talk about this a little, or is that?
No, that's fine, because we were like talking about how we were trying to decide what episode 2 is going to be, even though episode 1 is not out.
It's not, but we do have to start thinking about episode 2 if we want to do an episode 2.
Right. And so we're looking at all the scripts, because in terms of like the canon of our original series, like there's like so many stories and it's been going on for years, and we're like, okay, well, that's not going to be how this goes. And like we're looking at the stories and we're like, what if we just like don't do anything cohesive at all, and just on like in each episode it's just a completely different dimension with the same characters and it's never explained.
The reason why we could do that is because we've had these same characters rewritten in other contexts. Like, we wrote a version of GENO where instead of being in an underground spy base where everybody is a spy in the future, they were all on a TV show, a late night TV show. And they were all like, one of them was the host of the show, and one of them was like props, and one of them was the stage manager, and 2 of them were in the band. Like, we wrote a version of the show with all the exact same characters. But
they all had their same powers too, by the way. Like, they were still aliens.
They still had superpowers and they were still aliens, which is also fucking hilarious. And before we started shooting GENO, I like strongly recommended to Ryan that we do that version of the show, even though it was only something that we had done as a few episodes as a joke, but because I just loved it. And I was like, it might be easier for people to understand this show if this is the premise, as opposed to it's the future and they're on an underground spy base and they're aliens and they have superpowers. Like, well, that's too many moving parts. And it is, but we're doing it anyway.
I mean, let's assume that if anybody, like if more than 10 viewers watch the first GENO episode, there will be more episodes, and we could do an undercover like live TV show episode. I don't know.
Sure, let's promise that.
I don't know.
That's probably my favorite alternate universe example, but there have been several other times when we've written these same characters into another alternate universe. That was the only one that I was like, this could also work as a real show.
I like the one where they're all just randomly sorcerers.
That one was great. And like, my character's name is Kit for some reason in every iteration of the show. And my character's name is pretty much always Poochie.
Yeah, pretty much.
Or Nathan.
Yeah, depending on how dramatic I'm going to be for the day.
And Vicky is always there. Everyone's name is the same. I don't know why I'm clarifying.
Actually, okay, so fun fact, and then we'll get off this topic because I'm sure it's boring to everyone else, but the character Vicky, who is in the first episode of GENO, is a character who's appeared in every single story I have ever written. Because she has I can't really give too much away, but I can say that she is a character that exists in every dimension in my head. So, like, you know how, like, Joss Whedon has, like, the Whedon-verse? Like, in the Ryan-verse, Vicky is just everywhere, so.
Yes. So, if we ever do another show, I guess we'll have to put Vicky on it.
Vicky might appear on this show. Who knows?
She's not in D-Men, which is too bad. We could put her in.
That's true. D3. Anyway, I'm going to move on from GENO. I'm very excited about it. I'm excited to see everyone.
I'm really excited that we're actually doing it. I'm like shocked we're doing it.
Every single time we have a shoot, Maddie's like, I can't believe we're actually shooting this thing.
Because we've tried for years to do this and it's never worked, because anytime we actually start shooting it, people are like, whoa, I'm really busy. I can't I can't do what you guys are asking.
I mean,
like somehow we found 4 other people who were crazy enough to do this.
I think, excuse me, I think part of what was going wrong for us before was that, I mean, we had never shot anything on that level.
We were asking people who weren't crazy enough. Is that what it was?
No, we were also, oh my God, there's like something fluttering in my face. It's still there. What's happening?
It's gonna be like, okay.
It's like a piece of hair that was like in my eye. All right, sorry, I could not even concentrate. I was like really distracted. Like something was flickering in my eye.
Okay, you were gonna tell me what was wrong with all the other actors we've ever hired.
It wasn't with the actors. It's because we kept on shooting too high, and we were like, okay, so we want to make this serious, but we're gonna do like a 13-episode serious drama, and it was like that was never gonna fly. So
also, we had like a lot of ideas for places that we wanted to film, and we were like, okay, so how do we find a place that looks exactly like a medical lab? And then we would ask around and be like, oh, no one will let us use anything. Well, fuck.
Yeah, that was our bad.
So we had to compromise. And like now, I actually think we found some pretty good locations for this, but we did have to make a lot of compromises. You'll see.
But
we don't have a medical lab.
That's when we were looking at this pilot. It was like, we just really need to go for that 90s sci-fi vibe, because as soon as we do that, it like really lowers the expectations. So
imagine we made this in 1995 instead of D-Men.
With a slightly higher quality camera that you can actually see things on, and not everyone's blurry in the dark.
The shots look really good. I tweeted a shot the other day. If people want to go back and look at it. It looks pretty good compared to D-Men.
Oh my God. So I'm excited about this weekend. There's a lot going on because, I mean, the night beforehand, or at least I'm seeing our friend Steph, and she's doing this like whole get together thing. So thank God we're not shooting until like 1 p.m.
Oh my God. Yeah, you're going to be hungover again.
No, we're not drinking.
You're going to be like, Maddie, I'm so
okay,
sick.
no, that's not happening again, because none of us are drinking on Saturday, because we already agreed not to do that, which was good.
That's nice to hear, but also it's funny that for the second time in a row during a GENO shoot, you're opening the shoot by partying with Steph. Like, you have to admit that's a crazy coincidence, right? And especially because last time the shoot was in Connecticut, and Steph lives 10 minutes away from me, so she went to Connecticut to party with you and help us with the shoot. And then this time, you're coming to Boston to party with Steph.
I should see if she wants to come and like help out.
You should. She might have a better time this time because it's such a short scene, so she's not gonna get bored.
Right. Well, maybe she can throw some shit at my face.
She'll still get bored. Honestly, like going to a videography shoot, it's not fun. We're just working the whole time.
It's got to be boring because like you have to reshoot the same scene over and over again.
Yeah. It's not as fun as this show because I don't know. Yeah, it is.
All right. So also on Friday, I didn't tell you about this, but I just got hired to do a shoot on Friday for a art gallery opening. So I'm doing that from 5 to 10 on this upcoming Friday at the Mac Gallery in Middletown, Connecticut. It's for this guy Kalomo, who's doing his art thing. I'm sure there's going to be music and drinks and stuff like that. So, but my friend Felicia just contacted me like yesterday about it, and I was like, sure, I'll do it. So
that's awesome. Ryan's doing more contract photography shoots, you guys. So if you live in Connecticut, you could hire him.
That's true.
Actually, even if you don't live in Connecticut.
I mean, like I can move around, you know.
Actually, yeah. So like literally anybody in the Northeast area should hire Ryan, and he posts his photos on his Twitter and they're amazing. So you should check it out.
Speaking of which, so this past weekend, I've never done this before because I focus so much on like videography, but I did my first photography engagement shoot for our friends on Sunday.
Yeah.
And I was so afraid it was going to come up bad. And
it came out amazing. And Ryan showed me all these engagement photos, and he's going to downplay them and say they didn't come out great, but they look so
well, to me, good. I'm like, you have to understand that I work for Carla Tenek, who is like one of the world's like most well-known wedding photographers. So like I see her work every day, and I'm like,
you're learning from the best though. And
I mean, you're right. You're correct about that. But it also means I like also have higher expectations for myself and sort of like want to improve. And even if you didn't work in that situation, there's always room for improvement because there's no such thing as the best.
Of course, you can always get better. You can always get better at working with people. I mean, all that stuff is really cool.
It sort of reminds me of that like email we got last week where was it Taylor that had asked about like how do you know when you made it in the art field? And honestly, like, this is a great example of like, you don't. And like, I also feel like my work looks like shit. And you were saying the same thing about your writing. We're like people like it, but for some reason we're like, it's the worst thing I've ever done. And it's got like thousands of views of people being like, we really like this thing you did.
And I'm like, I hope no one looks at it. By the way, speaking of cameras and how we're an expert, apparently the camera's stuck on you this week, so you should like unclick yourself.
No, what are you talking about? It keeps on swapping between us.
Well, James told me that it's stuck on you, so I don't
really
know. I mean,
wait,
maybe
right now?
he's right. Yeah, like just now.
29 seconds good. Just so you guys know, the camera. What? Okay, it's it's like, no, it's literally flipping back and forth on my screen.
All right, I'm gonna blame James for this. James, get it together and refresh your page.
No, I'm looking at the YouTube stream right now to see what's going on, because
maybe you were just talking for too long. And James was like, "Where's Maddy? Is she even there?"
No, I'm looking. Okay, for some reason, whatever's happening in our Google chat right now is not reflecting in the YouTube channel. Which doesn't even make any sense.
Just click on my face and see if it shows just me.
Oh my god! Now Marion's like, James is correct.
I believe them. Okay.
Now I clicked on you. Let's see if that makes any difference. This is the most exciting part. Can you guys see my face?
I put on makeup for this show, so you better be able to see me. Can they? They can't. I wasted my time. I could have not even done that.
This is like really frustrating. And it's like, we're already live. So it's like, I really can't spend time fixing this.
I know. Well,
okay. I don't know what to tell you. It's like, I'm literally clicked on you and it's still.
That's pretty weird. I guess I could.
Whoops. Okay, hold on. I just accidentally removed you from the broadcast. Hello? Now I can't hear you.
What's up?
Oh, there you are. Okay.
Now I'm part of the live broadcast again. Oh my god, this is like the most boring possible thing. I'm gonna have to cut all of this out.
Okay, Mary Ellen goes, do better.
Thanks for the advice, Mary Ellen.
I don't know what to say. Like, I like literally am.
It's cool. Let's just do the show. I'm sorry you guys can't see my beautiful face.
I'm like so annoyed about this right now.
Don't be. Do you want me to talk about Carrie Fisher?
Yeah, sure, go for it. And you can do that. I'll just fuck around with this thing for a few minutes.
Okay. Well, I wrote an article about this yesterday, which it seems like people actually liked. I was surprised by that because I felt really nervous to write this article. I went to see Carrie Fisher speak at Harvard University on Monday night, and it was like super spur of the moment. Okay. Did the call just disconnect? Where are you?
No, I'm right here.
Okay,
I'm fucking around with settings. So
okay, sorry. I just got really scared. All right. Anyway, so I went to see her speak at Harvard, and it was so like transformative to see her do this. She just speaks extemporaneously for like an incredibly long time. Like, she prepared a speech and then spent the entire speech making fun of the speech that she had prepared and like throwing pages into the audience and like then just speaking extemporaneously, which was amazing, and like just telling off the cuff jokes and shit and like shooting the shit, which is like clearly not what people expected. Like, I think they expected her to like actually like present a PowerPoint. I don't know what people expect from Carrie Fisher at all.
Right.
It probably wasn't this. I don't know. So, but I also wrote about how weird it was that there were all these really performative Star Wars elements to her being there, which I didn't expect at all because the event made it sound like it was going to be like a mental health advocacy kind of a talk.
Well, but then you showed up and they were like...
I showed up and there were like a bajillion cosplayers there.
Oh, it sees you.
Yay!
I don't know what happened.
There were like a bajillion cosplayers there screaming, and then like people posing for photos and like people swinging lightsabers around and shit. And I was like, what is this? I thought I was going to like a mental health advocacy talk by Carrie Fisher, but like
I also find that super weird though.
It was super weird, and I got in there, and the entire Harvard Pops Orchestra was there to play like 6 minutes of the Star Wars theme.
I forgot about that, and I read the article that you had written.
I mean, you like can imagine my facial expressions with my friend, who was equally like, "What is happening?" Like,
oh my god,
we were both huge Star Wars nerds, but that's just not the mindset that I was in. Do you know what I mean? Like,
no,
I didn't
do.
go to the event thinking like this is a Star Wars fandom event.
Well, but right, also you're thinking about Carrie Fisher, and number one, like how she's done a million other things that are better than Star Wars, and also like that this is a mental health like advocacy like type of thing that she's speaking about, and they're like,
which is what it was.
Let's just play the Star Wars theme for like 5 minutes, and it's like.
It was so long. They played the entire medal ceremony song, which is like a little over 6 minutes. It's like a long song. And I was like,
she like okay, I'm glad that she wasn't just standing there awkwardly on stage.
That would have been I would have died, but instead she came out and they took photos of her awkwardly, silently, with like Chewbacca on stage with her, like silently. And like my friend whispered to me, she was like, "This is the type of thing that you do after the speech." And I was like, I know, but they did it before the speech because everybody was just waiting for Carrie Fisher to talk. That's all anyone wanted to see. But they kept like front loading it with other weird stuff. This is not an insult to the organizers of the event. I just want to make that clear. I mean, like,
I'm sure to some degree they like were like, should we have the Star Wars characters come out? But then they probably weren't expecting there to be like 5,000 Star Wars cosplayers, so
in attendance. They were probably thinking like the professional, because they got the 501st Legion cosplayers who are like professional cosplayers who get, I think, paid to go to these things, but sometimes they do it for charity, so I don't know if they were paid for this. They were like the professional ones, and then they also had just people showing up in Star Wars cosplay, which was fine. I just was like, I didn't think that's what this was. But the cosplays were really great. Like, I don't want to make it seem like I didn't love them.
No, it just seems really out of place because, it's not what she was there doing,
But then I thought about it and I was like, I don't actually know that this is out of place because Carrie Fisher was like so kind and loving towards the Star Wars fans. Like, even though she was talking about like things that happened to her on set that were terrible, she also at the same time was like so understanding about the fact that the movies mean so much to people. Like, stupid amounts of emotional investment is in these movies from the fans there. And
I agree.
Like, she knew that, and she was like so caring. I was like blown away by
Carrie
that.
Fisher is she's an incredibly smart woman, and like she's very generous to her fans, even though she doesn't have like that same attachment to Star Wars that like I actually don't think any of them do. Like, I think Harrison Ford and like
I think Mark Hamill is like, this is what my friend said. I may as well credit her since I'm like giving her.
Okay.
So it's like my friend S.I. Rosenbaum, who's also a journalist, and she'll probably write about this too. I hope she does. She was like saying that Mark Hamill is like one of the only people on Star Wars who was a nerd beforehand, and like obviously that's been evidenced in the rest of his career. Like, he's gone on to do Batman and like be the Joker and a lot of things. Like, he's a huge nerd. Like, everyone knows
he
that.
really is.
But Harrison Ford and Carrie Fisher, they're not nerds. Like, they did Star Wars, but to them they were like, I
would argue that Carrie Fisher is sort of a nerd, but like in a very different kind of way. Like, she's a nerd where she's like a writer type of nerd. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, she's smart and like, because we're writers and writers are definitely nerdy. So like, and that's totally fine.
So much script doctoring, which like, that was what SI got up and asked her about, was script doctoring and like how she did it. And she like told a joke about how she wrote Punch Up for Lethal Weapon 3 while she was high because she's amazing.
Yeah. Ben was telling me about how, she wrote other scripts like totally by herself, and they were all like really crazy trippy shit, but they were still really good.
Yeah.
So
and she talked about like being manic depressive and like working while you are in a state of mania, and then you come down from it. And she like talked about how she wrote her script while she was in a state, or not her script, her speech while she was in a state of mania, and she was like, I'm coming down from it now. And I was like, it's like awesome that you're literally telling us that. You know, like just like straight up being like, this is what my disorder is, and it's who I am. And
I think it's very cool. And I read the whole article, and like Ben was trying to talk to me while I was reading. I was like, no, I really need to read this. I know, like Carrie Fisher's on right now. Stop. I just find her, she's incredibly intelligent, and she's also like you said, caring and smart, and like, I don't know. It's like she's just really somebody worth looking up to, because she's also somebody that went through hell and like, has
and
sort of
still surviving and just keeping going and doing awesome shit all the time.
I mean, there's a lot of famous people that are in that same boat as her too, that they sort of like, she talked about this a little bit, that because she was in Hollywood, she wasn't diagnosed properly. And that's the case for a lot of like celebrities, is they don't get the professional diagnosis when they should be.
Because people are like, celebrities are crazy. And it's like, well, maybe they literally need help.
Yeah, I mean, and so it sucks, because I mean, the reason why actors in general are pretty good is because it's the same way that we're artists, where like our brains are not chemically balanced, like the reason why we are able to create our art is because like we're able to tap into that. And it's the same thing for actors, like
but I think that like when people say stuff like that, I don't want people to think that we're saying you shouldn't still get help. Like the whole theory that like you have to be crazy to make good art, I think is
no, you should absolutely get help. But I'm just saying that like, it's not uncommon, but it's uncommon to hear about it, I guess.
That's
which
true.
Is weird. And like, I find that weird. And I think it's really great that Carrie Fisher is willing to get up on a platform and talk about how, if you need help, get it, number one. And number two, if you're like a celebrity, absolutely get it. Like, don't, like pretend like you don't need it,
Yeah. And like, that was what a lot of what she said was about, was like, go to therapy.
I think that's so great, though. I mean, like, how many celebrities do you see get up and actually say that?
Not that many. Not that many people get up and say that. So that was
true.
Cool, just on its face. Anyway, that's pretty much all I had to say about it. It ruled. Star Wars
is great. I've been playing a video game that's old at this point, but I just started playing it. So first of all, I'm playing games because like I have a whole Steam library of like 75 games that I all bought on sale and have played none of them in the past year. Because where they do sales
Everyone does this.
I know.
I'm like the only person I know that doesn't do it.
Right. So like I've stopped doing that, and I'm like, I'm going to play these games. And the first one I started playing is Mutant Mudds, which has been cross-released on the PC and also like the 3DS and Nintendo Wii U and stuff like that. Cameo of my dog, by the way. The door's open today. And
hi, Lyra.
And it's actually a really fun game, and I knew it would be, because it's a platformer that does some interesting ideas where like they bounce between the foreground, the middle ground, and the background.
Oh, weird.
Right. Like, and so which is why it works really great for 3D, but I'm not playing it in 3D. And I'm actually using this really awesome controller that I bought from Best Buy that Caro had recommended. It's like $20, and it's like a great like for
like a PC
USB type of gaming, and works pretty much with everything. And I mean, I'm really enjoying it. I love platformer games anyway. And this game is just really, that's all it is. You run around and shoot Mutant Mud. It's great. And they have this mode where they like go into like the dark world. So it's like harder versions of the levels you've already played, except all the characters are ghosts. So you can't hit them, and you just have to avoid them. And like, I know, but the music is really fucking great. And you know how much I love 8-bit music, and I know how much you do also. So, I mean, it's a fun game, and it's short. I'm almost done with it, and I really love short games. We talk about this constantly on the show, but like,
we have no time.
No, it's not even that. It's like, I get disinterested like in any game that like runs longer than 8 or 10 hours, because like, I don't, like, there's so many games to play. Like, there just is not time to be sitting around and playing like a 75-hour game. And like, if I know that some people can do that, but that's not me. And
the people who can do that are 15 years old, I think.
No, I think there's some adults that can do it too, and they do it by not sleeping. And not to say that we don't do that, but we spend that time doing other stuff instead. Yeah. So like, I like games like this that are simple and to the point, and also, don't spend a lot of time giving me a tutorial, because I fucking hate tutorials. I'm just like, let me play the game. If you have to give me a tutorial because there's like 50,000 fucking buttons I have to push, your game is already far too complicated. You know what I mean?
That's true. And also, like, I love it when a game just works the tutorial into the first level without explaining anything.
Yeah, that's what they did with this too. And it was like simple.
Understated art form. Like,
it is
being able to work in how to show the player how to play without being like, hey, press A to jump. Try it now. And it's like, okay, well, all right.
I guess I'll do this now.
I guess I'll do what you're telling me to do in order to progress. But
yeah, it's fun. So I recommend that.
Cool.
And you saw Zootopia.
I did, but I don't know if we have time to talk about that, and I don't want to spoil it for you because I actually want you to see it. Okay. I saw Zootopia. It was really good.
I haven't seen it yet, and Katie has seen it multiple times.
Yeah, I like saw it, and then I came home and like read a bunch of articles about it, and I was like,
I think it's really interesting that it's been really great for the furry community. Because that's really cool.
Let's just talk about furries.
No, I'm serious. That like everyone's like, if you like this, you're basically a furry or whatever, and they're like, that's okay, and I'm like, that's not true. Number one, but number two, I'm glad that nobody's looking at this in a negative light. You know,
happily say if that was true, like that might be true of Robin Hood, on which this movie is sort of inspired. Like I think they've said that it is.
I was also reading about the animation too, and how they like animated every single strand of hair, which is fucking crazy.
It looks amazing. It looks
so basically good. It's as good as like what I'm reading about. So
it is, and I don't want to like overhype it too much, but I mean it's fucking Pixar movie, dude.
You know what I'm hoping is that at least locally around here, there's a few drive-in movies which barely exist anymore. But I would really love to see Zootopia at a drive-in movie. Like that'd be a lot of fun.
Man, I haven't ever been to a drive-in movie in my life.
They're fun.
I mean, I've seen them in movies.
I know, but like it's like on a summer night when you're sitting outside in your car with your friends and stuff. Like even as like an adult, like it's still fun. Like there's some fun. I'm not going to get too much into this, but I'm just going to say there's some values that like we've lost in the past 50 years, like drive-in movies and drive-in restaurants and stuff.
Literally
like
in real life. I mean, like talking to people on the internet is fun, but.
Yeah,
I know. Kind of sad about how little I physically see other humans.
Right, and go outside.
There's something to be said for that. Well, it's fine
anyway,
because we're talking to each other on Google.
Oh my god,
Video.
It's like 9:50. Let's talk about workout tips right now.
Okay. What do you have one?
Yeah, I was gonna say bicycle kicks because I sort of like brought it up last week.
Wait. Oh, like the ab workout bicycle kicks?
Yeah. Where you lie on your back and you basically like spin your feet around in a circle. Yeah! Woo!
I tried to do one. I don't think it like.
I don't know. I just saw like
doing that again.
I saw your foot for a second in the shot, and then that was it. This is the wackiest episode yet.
Okay, no, that's a good one.
It is. And it's easy, and I just fucking do that anyway because like. I don't sit around like a normal person. Like I sit on my back and shit, and I'm like spinning my legs around while I'm like watching TV. And Ben's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "It's fun," but it's also a really good workout for your abs. So
I like to imagine you doing that like all the time now. All right, I'll tell another ab one. This one is fun if you like Hawkeye. No, I'm just kidding. But it is a bow and arrow one. So like. You go on your back and like as you pull one leg towards you move your hands like you're drawing a bow. So like draw your pretend your knee is like the arrow and you like put your fist next to your knee and you draw your arms towards you. I can't show it really, but
that's okay.
So you do that with one knee and it's an ab workout. And then you switch hands and you use the other knee. And I don't know what it's called. It's like bow and arrow crunches or something. I just think it's fun
arrow crunches
because it's fun because it's like you're pulling an arrow, but
it might just be called bow crunches. Actually, I think I've heard that.
I have so many workout videos. That's like where I steal all of my tips from. But that's one of the ones that I have.
That's fair.
Yeah, it's just in a workout video that I have, and I'm sure they call it something in the video, but I don't know what they call it. It's just a kind of crunch. Crunches are so boring.
They really are. And it's like, it's the part that I least like to do when I'm working out. But like, you know, I've been doing crunches for so long that like, at least I can visibly see the results of it.
I've never gotten to that point, probably because I'm not as
diligent about it.
Yeah,
it's not
diligent. That's a good word.
It's not it's not even that it's like not fun. It's just like it's not like painful or anything. It's just like it's really boring.
It can be painful for a lot of crunches. It's not like working out is just like you never want to do it, man.
I like doing the cardio stuff. I always look forward to that. You know, like cardio is fun.
Yeah, but you know, stretching and all the other crap, man, I could complain about this for hours.
Well, let's talk about I was gonna say let's talk about the only 2 morning news topics that we have because they're not gonna last long.
All right.
The first one is Ghost in the Shell.
Stop casting white people as other characters that aren't supposed to be white. Okay, we're done. We're done. We're done with the topic. We're done.
It's complicated. I absolutely agree that in general, Hollywood needs to stop whitewashing and give other people of any color the opportunity to be in a starring role. Ghost in the Shell is a little bit more complicated than that because even though standalone complex, they made her Japanese, and the source material of the manga, it's in a fictional city that's not in Japan, and she's also established multiple times that she doesn't look Japanese because they all look generic at this point because they're all androids. But
yeah, which is
I
the
understand
that white people across the internet have been saying, like, as the reason.
But I mean, like, so I absolutely agree that it's important that we get other people of color in starring roles, and I would love to see somebody like that in this role. And I think that's a great point to continue to make. But when it comes to the source material, it's a little bit more complicated than that in this particular case for whatever reason. So
yeah, but like that's something that people say every time about everything. You know, like there's always some reason why the character. I don't know. I thought like it was an interesting point that a lot of people were making, just to be like, this is like a uniquely Japanese story, even though it takes place in a fictional world. It's like very much about Japan.
I mean, yes,
so
that is
having it happen
true,
not in Japan, first of all, is pretty stupid. So like, why are we even adapting it? I mean, that was what my feeling was on.
That's okay. So that is how I feel about it. Also, is that I'm like, why are we adapting Ghost in the Shell?
It's great.
I honestly like they're not going to be able to do it justice in a movie.
It will not be good. And like this was how I felt when people were like, yeah, there might be a live action Akira. I'm like, no.
Okay, Akira I don't even like on its own though.
I don't like it on its own, but the only good thing about
Ghost
it
in the Shell is at least a smart like concept. It's a very weird and very like sort of smart show.
But
and
like a
manga.
lot of these like iconic pieces of media are like making a statement about the culture in which they were made. So like this is no exception to that. So why are we taking it away from, like, why do Americans keep adapting Godzilla? Like, can we stop? No.
I mean, I don't understand why people find Godzilla interesting, period.
Well,
even in its source material.
Well, in its source material, it's supposed to be about the atomic bomb, which we dropped. So
I'm glad that we keep on going back to revisit that time we made a horrible thing happen in Japan.
Well, I mean, if Japan wants to revisit it and talk about the tragedy that happened to them, then I think
they're allowed to do that, but we shouldn't be like, what the fuck?
As soon as we adapt it, like that's super fucked up. So basically I'm just like, why? Maybe we should like hire people from other cultures and let them tell their stories.
I mean, that's actually what you just said right there makes more sense than anything I've seen as a response to this whole Ghost in the Shell thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, I didn't come up with that. Like there are some people out there who are saying stuff like that, but they're unfortunately getting silenced by like, I don't even fucking know. That's why I didn't want to talk about this, because
it's a complicated subject. It's so complicated.
It is complicated, but like, how complicated does it really need to be? You know, like just hire different people from you to tell their different story that you've never heard before.
No, actually, I think that's the most intelligent thing I've heard. Period.
I'm the most intelligent person in the world.
So everybody follow Maddy at Samus Clone on Twitter.
I don't know what I'm saying on there.
And the only other topic we have is the Rita Repulsa.
Power Rangers fans are also mad this week.
Okay, but this one's like far more stupid though. Like this is like people are mad that Rita Repulsa, they released an image of her. They're like, that doesn't look like the Rita Repulsa we know. And I was like, there's no way we were going to make her look like what she did in the 90s, which was like a ridiculous goth geisha. Like,
well, yes, and okay. I don't even like know where to begin with this because it's too stupid.
Oh, like they're just sort of. I mean, I'm a huge Power Rangers fan, but I'm also like, Rita Repulsa is supposed to be an alien from another planet, and what they decided to do is make her look like an alien from another planet and not a geisha.
She's not wearing exactly the same costume, Ryan. She's not wearing exactly the same outfit, so it's wrong.
Oh.
So now, I settled that.
I think it's. I mean, I don't even understand what the problem is. Like, I'm so excited about this movie. This movie, by the way, has like a non-white cast, which is really awesome.
It is cool. Although Rita Repulsa is white, which people are mad about, and that's fair. But like,
I don't know.
I mean, like a weird thing here. I can't remember if we talked about this when we were talking about the Rita Repulsa casting, but like for Rita Repulsa, they used some of the footage, the live action footage of the actress who played the role in Asia. And like, so she's the live action person playing it, but then they had different actresses do the voiceover for it. And like, then later in different live action versions, they had like some Hispanic actresses play the role. They've had like different people play the role. So then you end up in this weird spot where you're like, well, what ethnicity is Rita Repulsa classically supposed to be? She hasn't ever been white in the past, but like, what? I mean, she's an alien. And then you get in this stupid fucking argument again, like people do with Ghost in the Shell, where they're like, well, she's a robot, so it's fine if she's white. But like, the problem with the argument is that then you're always defaulting back to making people white. Do you know what I mean?
No, I agree with that. However,
what if Repulsa was anything but white? That would be fine. That would be paying somebody who isn't white to work.
I totally agree. In terms of this particular movie, I think it's not as terrible as it could be because the rest of the cast is of color and it's a bunch of them fighting a white person, which whatever. That's pretty... I
mean, that's true. And like, that's another interesting point where like you could argue that like depicting the original Rita Repulsa in like this stereotypical geisha outfit, like maybe that's kind of weird.
I do think that's a little weird. I think, but however,
so then it's like, well, the source material is pretty bad. So how are we going to adapt that? We're going to have to fix it. What are we
Power
changing?
Rangers is interesting too, because it's always been consistently, like at least the 5 original Power Rangers too have all been people of different color, which is
in America,
awesome.
Right. Yes,
but like none of the Japanese version.
Yeah, exactly.
But like an American version, which is what this movie is based off of, it is. So like, I don't know. I feel like there's less racial issues happening there than in other situations.
Yeah, but it's already like adapting from the Japanese source material, which like is itself completely different. So then, I mean, this is stuff that I was thinking about when the casting announcements first came out, and I was like talking to one of my coworkers about it who is Asian, and I was like, how do you feel about the fact that Americans just take Japanese shows and like completely change them? And she was like, I don't like it. FYI. And I was like, that's fair. Like, we're basically taking these things and being like, well, what if we put it in an American context and completely change all the meaning and also change all the voiceovers? Like, what if we wrote a new show? Like, why didn't we? I don't know. But
all this is so complicated, and it's so weird that like this happens to be what the internet is like super mad about this week.
Yes, and it's also like stupid because no one is having that conversation about it.
That's what I was gonna say, is that it's like this sort of mob mentality about like racism, but nobody's actually like making a solid point. And I'm like, okay, if we want to move forward and like actually get a variety of different people of different color in major roles, like there's got to be like we have to do something about it instead of just screaming incoherently on the internet, which does nothing, by the way.
I mean, I worry that it does nothing, but like I mean, I guess the most that we can do is like hire people.
Right.
I guess. I mean, we don't really have the power to do that.
What needs to happen is that like more people that our age and younger needs to just continue to break into the industry and start casting people. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like it's sort of like the next generation to sort of do the work, and including our generation, and needs to sort of like Bryan Singer like is doing this whole X-Men thing, but like everybody is super white in it, and it's like, Bryan, this is not acceptable anymore. Like you need to. The X-Men is a diverse cast. Like, but like you know what I mean?
Like guard Hollywood. He's like toxic old guard Hollywood, and
that's what I mean. And that's exactly what I'm trying to say, is that like it's like sort of this younger generation that we need to sort of go in and fix everything that all the old people have fucked up for us politically and in Hollywood. So
well, yeah, and like it sucks that people have to do that. You know, like it's like we're basically putting the onus on other people to be like, well, make your own company. And like I realize that's not like a fair solution because not everybody can. I don't know. It's more complicated than that.
Oh God, this is so complicated. And like,
let's do some fucking reader mail, man.
Yeah, let's do some reader mail. Let's just say that
we didn't solve all the problems of the world. What are we gonna do? We can't move on from this topic.
I like we're just getting fired up about how like racism even still exists because it shouldn't. Like,
well, we can't. It just does. I mean, it's like an ongoing process, man.
Oh my God,
it's a process, man.
All right. Well, oh my God, there's a freaking hair in my eye again.
At least that's a fixable problem.
All right. Everyone be nice to everyone and be equal. The end. That's okay. Doesn't matter who you are.
Could everyone please just try being equal?
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. No,
treat everybody with respect. The end.
That's a joke. That's a joke. I know that wouldn't. I'm sorry.
I didn't even know what you said. I just said treat everyone with respect. And you're like, it's a joke.
That's fine. Instructing everyone to be equal is not a sensical thing to say.
No, that is not a sensical thing to say. But what you can say is that everybody should respect each other no matter who you are.
That's true.
So
respect everyone.
The end.
Respect them.
All right. So we're not going to do a throwback today, Maddie, because in the time that we were talking about this other stuff, we got 7 more emails.
Oh, fuck.
And
all of the emails from people being like, why are you guys
no, I mean,
you're not qualified.
They're absolutely right. I think the reason why we get so fired up about it is because we like really are very passionate about like
and our friends care about it and we care about our friends.
I mean we're like I'm sort of like part of like the LGBT community too, and it's the same thing. It's like it's shitty all around, like, and it needs to stop being shitty, you know.
And also, people did specifically ask us to talk about those topics, so it's part of why I felt like we should struggle through them. You guys made us do this.
We tried our best, but you know,
I don't know. We're just trying to entertain you. I'm sorry that wasn't a very entertaining topic.
It was more like us just getting really angry at like assholes that like you know in politics, which is a dangerous place to go.
Read me a reader mail.
All right. The first one is from Christopher, and it says, Ryan and Maddie, thanks for the great show. I especially appreciated your answer last week about making art for yourself. It was a rough weekend writing a little interactive nonfiction piece for Ludum Dare, or Ludum, I might be pronouncing that wrong.
I think it's Ludum Dare.
Dare, yes, yeah. And your comments helped me get through writing about some difficult topics. Love listening to you. Thanks, Chris. So that wasn't a question. Nice. It was just really, I know, he was really nice, and I love it. Marilyn's sending me the emails that keep on popping up in front of my face.
Okay.
But thank you for sending that in. I'm glad that we were able to inspire you.
Yeah, keep on keeping on.
All right. And then we have another one. Oh, this is actually a recipe. We'll come back to that.
Okay, cool.
And then we have another one from Taylor that says, Hi, Maddy and Ryan. Hearing about your Kineticon work made me curious. How did you two meet and become friends? Some of my best friends emerged from the crucible that was my small town high school. Was it by choice, circumstance, or a little of both? And if that's too personal, here's another. What did we do to deserve James Cameron Avatar sequels, and how can I atone for these sins?
That's a really good question.
I mean, I don't know.
We never talked about who we met on this show.
That's because I watched it once and repressed the memories, so I'm not the person to ask.
About Avatar? Yeah. But also how we met, though. Yeah. We should talk about that.
Oh, yeah, I repressed how we met.
I thought that's what you were saying for a second, and I was like, no, you haven't.
No, I'm talking about Avatar, because fuck that movie.
Yeah, fuck that movie. That's
another whitewashing experience right there. Yes!
Oh my god, Avatar's terrible. All right, anyway, how we met.
Oh my god.
We met in middle school. Our mutual friend Katie,
who we're still really good friends with.
Yes. She and I went to elementary school together. So I've known Katie since I was in like 3rd grade or something. And we were best friends for a very, very long time. And we had like a role-playing game that we used to play together that we made up. And I've written about that before because it was awesome. And we made up a bunch of characters for that and like wrote a bunch of stories for it. And then Katie moved away to Natick, which was like kind of far away from me at the time because I grew up in Newton. And,
this is Massachusetts, by the way.
Yeah, Massachusetts. Those are both suburbs of Boston. It doesn't really matter where they are. So she was far away from me, but like I had a lot of trouble making friends in school because I was a huge nerd, and like Katie was my only friend for like an extremely long time. So my mom kept driving me out to Natick to see Katie because I couldn't make any other friends. And she was like, "Can you please make other friends?" And I was like, "I can't. I'm sorry. I don't have any other friends."
I mean, that still sometimes applies.
Yep. Anyway, so I was a child, so I couldn't drive yet. So my mom had to drive me to Natick all the time.
Sorry, I just envisioned like a 12-year-old Maddy trying to drive. It was really funny.
Anyway, so Katie also made one other friend after she moved, and it was Ryan.
Ta-da!
And so that's how I met Ryan, and I kept hanging out with you guys for the rest of my life. The end.
Yeah, I think you came over. Well, Katie was like, "We're all gonna get together."
Friends, and eventually she was like, "So I know this really weird guy named Ryan."
Well, no, I had started playing in our role play with you guys, but I don't
think I was like cool with that at first. You like made up a character for the role play.
Okay, the role. I was gonna say the character that's now in GENO. Yes, correct.
Yes. So like you made up a character, and I was like, I don't know if I trust this other guy to join our game, and I was like very pushy about it. But then I met you, and I liked you, and we all got along really well, and we kept being nerds, and we wrote stories together for
pretty much.
Literally
I mean,
the rest of time.
What ended up happening is that like immediately after that, we started writing GENO stuff when we were like 12 or 13.
Yeah, we started writing together all the time.
And then Maddy and I started calling each other every day. Like I also called Katie every day.
That's really like how we bonded.
Yeah, because it was like every day on the phone for hours at a time.
It was exactly like this, except that we were 12, and we were just
it was like, I know, it was like literally screaming and throwing things and giggling into the phone, and like then our parents would come home and we'd like go and hide, but then call each other again. So
yeah, oh my god! Like at one point, you like racked up an insanely high long distance phone bill from calling me because long distance was a thing.
Oh my god!
Your parents got really mad, and so I had to start calling you because
I forgot about that.
Like a better phone plan. There was like a month in October because every year we made a haunted house together.
That was another reason why we bonded. Is that we were building this haunted house.
I mean, like you and me and Katie just like did everything together then. So we made haunted houses every single year, and we would talk for like hours every single day for months.
Like months in advance.
Every single aspect of the haunted house. And we were like 13, 14, 15, like in making this haunted house for the neighborhood. And like the neighborhood loved it. They came and loved whatever the fuck we were doing.
I know. And then we continued to do that.
Those were the first shows. Those were the first shows that we ever did together was the haunted house. We would write a script. We would perform as characters. There'd be themes. Like the fact that we were doing that, I don't know, man. It was.
I don't know how we put it together, and your mom was super supportive during it.
She was. My mom was always extremely supportive of everything that we did, and like so were your parents, except for that one time with the phone bill, which happened in October. It was the entire month of October. We were talking to each other for like 7 hours a day.
There was also that time that I put the phone in the microwave with you on there because I thought that would be a funny joke, and then it just exploded.
Well, you put it in the microwave, and then it turned the microwave on, and then the phone never worked again.
Maddy like just heard me like on the phone, be like, "Maddy, listen to this, beep beep."
It was just really staticky, and I was like, I guess that's what happens if you put a phone in the microwave. Also, we burned popcorn that one time and got really scared that your dad was gonna find it, and so we hid the burned popcorn in the woods.
Oh my god, that was stupid. Well, okay, it was like Maddy was like, "I want to make some popcorn," and then after like 10 minutes, I was like, "Hey, Maddy, what happened to that popcorn?" We looked over the kitchen, and there was smoke billowing out of it.
It was microwave popcorn, and I think it said like
a minute.
5 minutes, take it out when it stops popping or something. But I think your microwave was like too high powered. I put it in for whatever amount of time it was and then walked away and didn't pay any attention to it. Yep. I don't know.
So we continued to do shit like that. And then eventually we made Demon and then a bunch of other shitty movies that eventually maybe we'll do Throwmax too. Maybe.
Yep. And we've been doing this for our entire lives.
Yeah, and then we started doing actual shows together. And that hasn't stopped. So
like for some reason we started going to conventions like Kineticon, but we already knew each other.
I also want to point out that Katie is still sort of an intricate part of like all the shit we do, but you guys never see her because she's completely behind the scenes.
Yeah, like, she did a lot of like awesome stage managing work for D-Men and for the GENO shoot that we did.
Right, and also when we did stage shows at Kineticon and also like when we did Repo and stuff, she was the stage manager for that too. And she's not qualified. She just did it because like we were there.
She's qualified now.
Yeah, for sure.
She's been stage managing our shows since before we knew what the phrase stage manager meant, and now she's extremely qualified to be stage managing us.
Right. I mean, she's learned how to be like the super admin because of us, because we can't get it together.
All taught ourselves to do none of this is like official training at all. We just have always been doing this, so I don't know.
I mean, it's fun, and I'm glad that you guys asked us that question, because we never really do talk about it. But we have you have to understand that Maddy and I have known each other for what's. It's like 20 years. It's like, I know, it's like the number gets higher and that gets far scarier, but I don't
want to know how many years it's been.
We can definitely say that we've done a lot of events, parties, and shows and movies together. So a lot.
Yeah. That's how we met. Doing stupid shit.
Anyway, I mean, nobody's surprised. Now we're doing this.
Read another question.
Okay, so David sent us 2 questions. One was, do you have any nostalgia for Mighty Morphin Power Rangers? And I think we already covered that.
We actually do. We were really snarky about it, but
we were. But I have the original box set on DVD right above me, even though it's on like pretty much every streaming service right now.
It's part of why I want everybody to just shut up and grow up about it, because I love Power Rangers and I'm willing to see whatever.
I still watch it pretty frequently.
Yeah,
and it was one of the few shows that featured the Red Ranger's the leader in it or whatever, but the Pink Ranger does all the work. It's totally
she's
kidding.
Awesome. And everybody, it has a group of friends who are all different and they get along anyway. There's a lot of cool messages about the show.
And they also are pretty supportive about being healthy and working out and that kind of stuff, but also being
having ninja powers and being teens.
But they work in the student center where they work out and teach other people classes or whatever. But then they have other things they're interested in, Billy is a giant nerd but also can fight, so that's kind of cool.
That is cool.
Nostalgically, yes, we do love that. And then the other question you asked was, what are your favorite robots? And my favorite robot is the Robot Knights, because they have an album coming out.
Yup. Same. No, I don't know. I liked Ex Machina a lot. I talk about it all the fucking time on this show. I don't know, man. The original Transformers, those guys are cool. Optimus Prime, Bumblebee, Soundwave.
I have to I'm going to just say the Vision from the Avengers.
Oh, the Vision's good. I just read the storyline last night when I couldn't fall asleep, where the Vision tries to take over the world, and he does for a few hours. Have you read that one?
Yeah, well,
really tragic.
Was it
he realizes
Ultron
that
related?
he's wrong. Yeah, he has a thing embedded in his skull that Ultron left there, and it's really cool and tragic, and he realizes that he was wrong and has to apologize to everybody. It's sad.
That is sad. Vision's a great character. By the way,
a great character. I love that guy.
You should right now. There's the new Vision series, which is Meet the Visions, and the Vision's I want to have an entire android family, and it's so weird, but totally worth it.
Okay, well, I can't read it until I've caught up completely on every single archive of the entire Vision ever, so I can't read it right now. Right. I'm still in the mid 80s of the Avengers or something.
That's a good time for the Avengers.
It's great. It's really good.
We have 3 more emails.
Oh my god.
Okay. The next one is from Quinn that says, "Hi Insomniacs. I was curious how different it is for you to shoot your video series now versus the Demon Saga back in high school.
Oh my god.
Does new technology or your greater level of experience make things easier? Any new challenges you didn't have to deal with back then?"
No, it's all easier.
Yeah, it really is all easier.
Oh my god.
I guess the bigger challenge now is time, because now we back when we were in Demon, we were in high school and
we didn't have a lot going on.
Yeah, it was high school and that was it.
Yeah. So but that was actually also a flaw, because since we were in high school and we felt like we had infinite time, that meant that we wasted a lot of time on the shooting days, and we ended up with really shitty footage that would happen at the end when everybody had to go, and you know what I mean? We did not budget our time well because we were children. So we were very disorganized and fighting each other all the time, didn't know what we were doing. Everything about D-Men
is a nightmare.
I mean, like the original D-Man at least was like really fun, but by the time we got to D2, like we really bit off more than we could chew when it came to filming it, and like there were a lot of like power struggles.
And it's actually interesting, and we've talked about this, is that a lot of those cast members are coming back for GENO.
Yeah, and I mean, like
they all have a positive memory of D-Man and D2. Well, that's good.
So do we, in a way. Like, obviously, we fucking put them on the internet, but I think that you and I are, as the like people who are still doing shows, will look back at that stuff and be like, we could have done a way better job.
Well, we didn't know things like headshots and different camera angles. We never reshot anything. We would do like one take.
We did one take. We did everything in a wide shot. I mean, people have seen those movies apparently, so they know we did everything in wide shot. We didn't do any singles. We made our lives so much harder that way, because I know
but like
everything had to be done in wide shot in one take.
So honestly, we didn't know. And also,
in one take.
Back then, it was, I mean, you saw the editing. It was shitty, but it was also done because I literally took a VHS, put it into the VCR, and then would turn on the camera. And you would back then, that's how you had to do it. You would have to like turn on the camera, then hit record on the parts that you wanted to cut. Unless you like were super rich and had a super powered computer that could run an actual editing program. But like nobody did then. Nobody. Everyone had to do it the way I was doing it back then. And so I'm really happy that like now we have supercomputers that like are cheap and accessible to everyone.
Yeah, it's possible to buy a computer that you can, and it's also so much easier to like edit digital film, but we didn't have access to any of those things.
Right.
So like even if we'd had multiple takes and multiple shots, it would have been so hard to edit that, because you would have been doing it by hand and like watching every take and being like, which one's the good one to record? Like even that, I don't think that you had the time or ability really to do.
Right. And you know, for something like D-Man and D2, the standards for that was that we were literally having an X-Men themed party and we did a film for each one of those. Like that was it. You know? Yes,
but also we really took them seriously.
We did.
We should be like, well, it was just a fun project that no one cared about.
You know, what's actually funny is that like when we were shooting the pilot for GENO and Caro was over, we were talking about D-Men, and Caro was reminiscing about it, and we were talking about how like back then, like since you know when we were much younger, we didn't know how to do anything. I would be directing and joking, then I would turn around and be like, "Why isn't everyone acting?" Like.
Yeah, like Ryan would get mad at us for slacking off, and then he would start slacking off. And
I know, it's like the stupid
why is everyone just telling jokes? And then he'd go back to telling jokes. Like that was what it was like constantly.
And like, honestly, that carried through even past D-Men, because when we started doing like stage shows in our early 20s, we still encountered all those same problems with giant casts for a long time. And honestly, it's only been in like the past like 3 or 4 years that like we sorely figured out like we're just doing this for fun, and like. All of GENO has been so easy because like we just show up and everyone just has a good time and there's like no stakes, you know what I mean? So
well,
I think that's
I mean, I still think there's stakes. It's more like we just know how to do things faster.
Yeah, and also like we don't get mad about things anymore. Like
no, I never
that's
get
sort
mad.
of that's sort
I've
of a nice
never been
thing
mad in my life. I've literally never gotten
Maddy's
mad
a
or
completely calm person.
I never get overwhelmed. I'm just like the chillest of chill. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe nothing's actually changed.
But yeah, no, I think you're right though that everything is much easier than it ever was, and like even editing is easier, and like
literally
it's all easier. Like I mean, I'm shooting on a really nice camera that was only like $800. Like back like when we were like 13, 14, 15, I mean, obviously we didn't have money, but those cameras were thousands of dollars.
Yeah, and they
so
were
we
like
had to get a shitty handy cam. Yeah, and like my dad happened to have cameras because of his job, so we were just lucky in that aspect.
Yeah, like a lot of kids never get to make a shitty movie at all. Like they'd never even have the opportunity. Like luckily your dad had a camera. Like
right. Yeah, I mean like that's it.
That's the only reason why that even happened. We would have been doing shows that never got filmed otherwise. Like we definitely did plenty of shows that never got filmed.
That's true. I mean, we made some other stupid shit that maybe we'll watch sometime, but
yeah. I
gotta transfer that bullshit, and that's like a whole nother project.
Okay.
We have one more serious email, and then we have one from Mary Ellen. This is from Marielle. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. And she says, "Hello, Maddy and Ryan. I just wanted to say I really like the show. It always brings a smile to my face in the mornings. It happens. It's a nice wake up to hear folks laugh and be happy. Thanks for the great show.
Yay!
I'm glad they're making so many people happy today. As we like come off like serious political topics.
I'm like baffled.
I know.
I don't know why people like this show.
Thank you for writing in. That was really sweet of you. Mary Ellen says, "Hey guys, long time listener, first time caller. I don't really have anything to say this week. I'm ill. Great work though. Keep it up. Bye." And then she emailed me again and says, "Wait, also Ryan, can you make me a header for my movie blog? I am bad at it." Yes, Mary Ellen. Why did you ask me that here?
Okay, well, Ryan, you need to do that. Okay, you have to make her a header for her movie blog. I think Mary Ellen is making a movie blog, by the way, so everyone should read it.
Yeah, as soon as that she has it up, we will absolutely link it in here. Maybe she can come and talk about it. I don't know. All right. Okay. So we have recipes, and we have one from James, and we also have Skye's. I'm going to do James first because he's a writer and for Reader Mail.
Cool.
And he writes, "Hey guys, today I have a recipe for you guys. It is a Jello cake. You need any sort of white cake batter. I just use store-bought cake mix most of the time because I'm lazy. Aren't
That's
we
fair.
all? A package of Jello. Most flavors work, but cherry is my best in my opinion. And the directions include: pour your batter in a pan and cook the cake. Take the package of Jello and mix it with half the normal amount of boiling water, typically 1 cup. Take a knife and stab holes at regular intervals along the top of your cake. Pour the Jello mixture into the holes. P.S. You need to refrigerate the leftover cake or else it may go moldy. It is a really easy recipe and super delicious. Hope you guys enjoy." I think that sounds like something Maddy will make.
It will probably never happen. Everybody sends us such nice recipes, and then I just make a grilled cheese sandwich. Like,
well, I mean, I'm not a dessert person, but that does sound very good. And I
do like cake.
Yeah. And I know, you could do that and put alcohol in there, though, I bet.
Well, I would.
That changes everything.
But perhaps Ryan would.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
I don't know. Do you want to say a recipe of your own? Do you have one?
No, we're going to do Skye's first because that's more important than anything.
All right, good, because I don't have a recipe. I still can't think of one.
I think it's possible that we may not give recipes because between the two of them, we have two, but we'll see.
That's true. We're going to tap out on thinking about anything.
Yeah, we already skipped the throwback, but we had like 8 reader mails, and that was awesome, and I want that to happen more often.
Awesome.
Skye sends in, "Okay, so this week I made stir-fry vegetables with udon, noodles, and tofu."
Whoa.
So stir-fry is super easy and hard to really mess up. True, Skye, because I can cook it, and I'm a terrible cook. Don't say, I'm totally owning that I just don't give a shit about cooking.
All right. Well, we do have a lengthy recipe segment on our show that would...
I mean, we like eating food. That's sort of the real thing. I like to just keep things cheap, so I use frozen vegetable medley in mine. I do the same thing, actually.
Mm-hmm.
So the ingredients include 1 bag of frozen mixed veggies, 1 pound of tofu, 1 package of udon noodles, which is optional. Have soy sauce and crushed red peppers or other seasoning on hand. First, cube, dry, and marinate your tofu. I like to just dump it in a bag with soy sauce, but you do you. Pour some cooking oil into a cold wok, then heat over medium-high heat. I prefer peanut oil myself. Once the oil is good and hot, introduce that tofu. Brown the tofu for 5 minutes or until you're happy with it. Then dump the pile of veggies in there. Drizzle some soy sauce to make everything happy. Throw in some crushed red peppers if you like it. While this is going on, follow instructions on the udon package. Mine wanted to be microwaved for 1 minute. Frozen veggies take some time, so toss everything in your wok around for about 10 minutes. Throw the noodles in there just for a few, then you're good to go. Serve with rice, although maybe skip the rice if you use noodles because that's a lot of carbs. That sounds delicious. Skye, I love stir fry, and that's sort of my go-to and sort of why I keep talking about it on the show. But it's so easy and it's so good. Like, it's so hard to fuck it up. You just throw it in a pan.
I mean, I don't really cook anymore because Zach does that now, but I love stir fry. And I mean, we do actually buy vegetables. We don't really get frozen ones, but
I will sometimes, but like a lot of the time I'm in a rush and I don't have time, so it's just easier for me to run into the grocery store and grab a bag.
Yeah. No, I mean, we should probably do that. I don't know. It doesn't.
That's Guy's joke corner, the most important part. Let's see. Okay, wait, this is the part where I fuck it up. Everyone get ready. I've been playing a lot of Dark Souls 3 lately. Dark Souls 3 really is a lot like life. I can't tell if it's too difficult or if I'm just bad at it. And there's lots of tutorials on YouTube. Those are Skye. I like your easy jokes because I get them.
I like that one. There are a lot of good tutorials on YouTube.
Yeah, for everything. Ben, okay, Ben always makes fun of that too. He's like, I'm trying to figure out how to fix this thing, so I'm just listening to what this 12-year-old is telling me on YouTube.
That is seriously what the internet is like. It's like 12-year-olds who can do better makeup than I can and who are more put together than I am, who are telling me how to live.
Okay.
We're all doing great.
So I have an idea for just quick recipes that's not really a recipe. Sides for stir fry. Egg rolls are so good. Vegetable egg rolls, love them. And that's what I'm recommending because you can literally just buy a pack of them and put them in your toaster and have them on the side. And it's like the best thing to put with your stir fry.
Okay. I
Jalapeno poppers.
Nothing. I don't know. I mean, I guess I will repeat what I said earlier in case people didn't hear it, which is that if you get bean sprouts and cabbage and put that in stir fry, it's also really good. And cabbage is like, you can buy one cabbage and it'll last forever because cabbage like explodes into more vegetables and fiber if you've ever cut open a cabbage. So like, that's always a good thing to get to.
Yeah, and actually, if you have any farms near you, you can just go to like their like market. They have those fresh vegetables taste so fucking good because it's so fresh. You don't realize how unfresh like everything in the actual supermarket is until you go to a farm and buy it like right off of like where they just pulled it.
Feeling most of our listeners don't live near a farm.
Okay, so, well, okay, you know what? I live in Connecticut.
Don't know what you're missing.
No, up here in New England, it's like it's literally city and then woods, then farm, city, farm, woods, farm. Like it's ridiculous.
I mean, like the produce near me even is so good. I'm so spoiled by it, and I don't know. Anyway, we both have to go.
We really do. And this was a late show, but I'm really happy that everyone sent in reader mail, and I would love to see more of that happen because like those were great questions, and
they were great.
And the people that were sending in questions,
nice comments.
Yeah, like that was really nice, and that was really great, and I like hope that sticks up, especially after we got so like angry at like Ghost in the Shell and Power Rangers.
Didn't despise what I don't know. You can send us an angry mail about that if you want at Insomniacs in the morning.
But I'm glad that it's you guys are walking away with this with a positive vibe and waking up and feeling good because that's why we do it. That's why we start doing this.
It's the only because like literally this week because we really didn't have that much to say this week, but somehow we managed.
No, important thing we do need to say right now before we forget is that next week you will not be here.
Well, are we doing the show on Monday instead, or are we not doing that?
I guess we'll decide. We'll let everybody know.
The show will be different next week, or it won't happen.
There's three possibilities. Either Maddy and I will do it Monday, or we won't do it at all, or I'll just like have Skye and Mary Ellen guest. We'll decide. We'll let you know. We have to discuss it. But I'm just letting you know next week is going to be fucking wacky because Maddy is recording her album next week, and it's really important. And then you will also see her at Indiecade. So
yeah, that's true. I'm going to Indiecade East next weekend. So for anybody who lives in New York City or is going to Indiecade East, you could see me there. But
is it Indiecade? I thought it was Indiecade. Like
no, it is
arcade.
Indiecade. It's Indiecade East because there's
you're saying
Indiecade.
Okay, I heard Indiecade and I'm like, Katie's here?
No. Indiecadiest. I don't fucking know. I actually don't. I've never been to Indiecade before, so I actually don't know anything about what it's like at all.
And also, Gita and Todd are going to be there, right?
That's true. Gita and Todd are going to be there, and we're all going to be on a panel with this other guy, Dante, to talk about the sexualization of men in games.
Oh, that's
actually going to be us talking about hot guys for
I know. I was going to say that. Whatever. Just talk about Chris Redfield with his shirt off for me. Promise me that.
Okay, I will.
All right.
Anyway,
all right, guys, we got to go. So
on Twitter and Instagram and YouTube, find it. I don't know, Google it.
You can subscribe here. This is where we do this every week. But our home base is Atomic Blue Productions, which is where GENO is going to go, and also future throwbacks and maybe some action figure stuff. And and then you can find us on Twitter at Dr. Yoshi2 and Samus Clone, and then
or Atomic Blue.
I was gonna say and Atomic Blue Productions is also on Tumblr, Instagram, and Twitter and Facebook. So whichever suits your fancy. We're everywhere. We're taking over the world. Like Rita Repulsa.
Oh my god.
I'm an alien. I'm Poochie.
Well, Ryan's an alien.
It's true.
I'm a robot. So that's important to note.
Oh,
anyway.
Yep. Actually, I'm a vampire.
Okay. Actually, I'm
time to go.
An angel.
Oh my god. A goth angel.
I'm a goth angel with wings. These are literally references to like stories that we wrote ages ago.
I thought you were just talking about us in high school. All right, bye everyone. Thank you for listening, and send us more reader mail at insomniacsinthemorning@gmail.com.
Yeah, we love it. Thank you.
That was great. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
All right, bye everyone.